We're continuing to preview some of the most hotly contested events ahead of the 2024 Paris Olympics. Today, let's take a look at the women's 200 freestyle. This will be a look at the swimmers expected to be in the hunt for medals based on current world rankings and history in the event. If you think I've overlooked someone, let me know down in the comments. Starting out, these are the top 10 fastest 200 freestylers this season. This list only includes swimmers that will be eligible to contest the event in Paris. This means no third place finishers at a nation's trials. A notable omission is Katie Ledecky. Ledecky placed first at the United States Olympic trials, but just like in 2023, has opted not to swim the individual event. But at the top of these season rankings, we have a pair of 152s from training partners Ariarne Titmus and Molly O'Callaghan. Both of these swims came from the Australian Olympic trials, where Titmus smashed the world record in the event that was previously held by O'Callaghan. O'Callaghan had held that world record for less than a year after she had broken Federica Pellegrini's 2009 supersuited world record at the 2023 World Championships. O'Callaghan actually swam faster than her former world record at these trials, which makes these two swims the two fastest swims ever. It's hard for anyone else on these season rankings to follow up such an insane 1-2 punch like that. But behind the Aussies, we have Summer McIntosh with her 153.69 from the Canadian Olympic trials. That is just 400ths away from her personal best in the event. After McIntosh is Siobhan Haughey with her 154.08 from the World Aquatics Cup Budapest stop. Rounding out the top 5 and the last of our sub 155 second swims is Yang Zhuxuan and her 154.37 from the Chinese Olympic trials. That time also equals her personal best that she set leading off the 800 free relay at the Tokyo Olympics. After that, we have a bunch of 155s rounding out the rest of the top 10, with less than 3/4 of a second separating all those swimmers. Looking at the splits of our top 3 swimmers, we can see that Titmus and O'Callaghan dominate the splits throughout the race. These two alternate who has the fastest splits for each 50, going O'Callaghan, Titmus, O'Callaghan, Titmus. The only time McIntosh outsplits one of the Aussies is on the second 50, where she snags O'Callaghan by 4/100ths. Comparing McIntosh to those top 2, she is still in the mix at the halfway mark, just 1/10 of a second behind O'Callaghan and 3/10 behind Titmus. But over the second 100, those two would run away from McIntosh to end with both of them touching the wall over a second ahead of her. As it stands right now, this race is Titmus's or O'Callaghan's to lose in Paris. In fact, it gets really insane looking at the top 10 performances in the history of the event. These two swimmers account for 8 of the 10 fastest performances ever. This field is super fast all around. Switching views to the top 10 fastest performers ever, we can see that our top 10 fastest swimmers this season are also 5 of the 10 fastest swimmers ever. And even with a field this fast, those two swimmers are still so fast that it seems so highly unlikely that anyone will manage to break up the duo. And with these two swimmers both being from Australia and the 200 free being a relay distance, we also have to talk about the 800 free relay. Because let's take a look at the top 4 Australian women from their Olympic trials. Behind those two sizzling 152s, we have 2 more quick swims, Lonnie Pallister in 155.57 and Brianna Throssell in 155.74. Those 4 times add up to a crazy 7:36.02. While more does go into a relay than just adding up the times from trials, it is the best data point that we have before the races actually. We can also compare Australia's add-up time to that of the United States and China. The US and China come out very close together with these times, with China getting the edge 7:43.38 to 7:43.71. But of course, they both pale in comparison to Australia's add-up from their trials. Obviously, the firepower at the very top helps in a big way. It'd be concerning if you weren't the favorite with 2 152s. But the Aussies also have some incredible depth to make things even crazier. Throssell placed 4th at the Australian trials, but her time here would have placed 2nd at the United States trials and 3rd at the Chinese trials by just 1/100th. We also have to turn our eyes towards the world record in this event, set by the Australians at the 2023 World Championships. That record sits at 7:37.50, making it almost a second and a half slower than the sum of these trial swims. Again, more goes into a relay than just adding up the times from trials, and equaling that time from trials is never a guarantee. But when you have that big of a gap over the world record and the rest of the field, it's worth keeping an eye out. And of course, that relay will most likely be bookended by the 2 fastest swimmers in the history of this event. The 200 freestyle is going to be quite the show in Paris. Titmus will be looking to defend her title from Tokyo and lower her own world record. O'Callaghan, meanwhile, is the 2023 world champion and now the 2nd fastest fastest ever, looking to reclaim her record in the event. Between that race and the 800 free relay, there's bound to be a ton of fast 200-meter swimming in Paris. But how do you think things will play out? Who wins both the 200 free and the 800 free relay? And will either world record survive? Let me know down below. Also be sure to let me know what event you want to see covered next as we continue to count down the days to the 2024 Paris Olympics.